1,
2,
3. I said 3. I said 3. Is that an integrity issue? No. 4.
Are we still rolling?
Yes,
Right.
of course. So we've been 5 years married. Can you believe it? I've been married to this sweetheart, this queen, this amazing Amazon, this phenomenon for 5 years. Isn't that interesting?
Interesting for who? You or for them? It's interesting for us.
Yes, no, interesting.
I'm sure some of you find it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you imagine that it's been 4 years since we started our vlog, relationship, love, and marriage series? Can you believe that?
I know, right? We're just 1 year at that time. Let's just tell these people a few things, quote unquote, randomly in our living room, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And I must say that it's been very exciting learning more about you, loving you, being more deeply committed and deeply emotionally entangled, if I can use the expression. So in this episode, we're going to be looking through some of the things that we've learned, some of the growth areas that we've experienced, and we believe that it's going to enrich your love life and your relationship
and your marriage.
So 5 years in marriage, or 5 years of marriage, has been extremely enriching. It's been exciting. It's been fun. It's been fulfilling. It's been blissful. It's been enjoyable. It's been tasking. It's been a lot of taking responsibility. It's been a lot of serving, being diligent, growing, expanding, stretching. It's been all of that and more. But overall, it's been so fulfilling. I'm grateful for 5 years with my best friend in the world.
It's actually been really good. I normally tell people that married life is better than single life. I'm enjoying being with my friend, someone I can always talk to, depend on, collect money from, share with, gist with. It's just comforting to know that there's someone else there that is that close. So it's been really good. Growing, learning, loving, not being alone. Yeah.
Okay, so there have been many surprises. Generally good surprises, even though some of them have some responsibilities connected to them. So I think one of them is to see, number one, time passes so quickly. Like, I can't imagine that it's 5 years already. It feels like, in a way, it feels like 50 years because of the way I feel I know my wife. Or another way, it seems like just 2 years ago. So that's one surprise. Time just goes by. We're 5 years now. We're going to be 50 years in a few years. Number two, I think that I've seen the faithfulness of God amplified in massive ways. So there are certain things that we possibly thought would experience 7 or 10 years into marriage, you're experiencing it right now. And then the ones that have maybe, like, let me use the expression key legs, is I cannot believe that children have a way of soaking up so much of your personal time with your wife. As in, like, before you got married, I believed that, okay, you're gonna have children, you're gonna get busy, but there are actually seasons where days literally pass, and then we have not really spoken as much as we used to speak. Of course, we talk every day and all of that, but that whole personal time, the connectedness in certain seasons, I mean, that's just very surprising. So maybe that's the bit I didn't enjoy as much, but overall, it's been extremely good.
Greatest surprise. I'm not really sure how to answer this question, but I think it's surprising how my life has changed and evolved. And I'm being careful to say this now, to take the shape of my husband's life, or the calling we have as a family and as a couple. And sometimes I don't get the fullness of this calling up until after I've started following. And most times I'm just following an instruction that he has given or a leading, and I find myself growing to become somebody that I didn't even know was inside of me. But I found that God has put me with him so that as he's growing, I'm following, submitting, but I'm also becoming who God wants me to become. But so it's been really surprising how my life has taken different twists and turns from different countries, different jobs, just because I'm following a man. So yeah, but it's been good kind of surprises, and it's worked perfectly. greatest blessing must just be the joy of having my family, having a husband who loves me, who understands me, and then having these two adorable children. And I always say right now that the hardest part of going to work, apart from the initial struggle to wake up in the first place at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, is leaving them at home to go to work. And the greatest joy is coming back, mommy, 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 and my husband hugs me and all of that, although they now stress me out after some minisha baked. It's really such a pleasure to just have them. And even as I'm recording now, missing them and trying to call them and talk to them, it's just the blessing of having my family.
I think my greatest blessing in marriage has been the blessedness of the growth that we've experienced, and seeing that many of the things that we spoke about, prayed about before we got married, have literally happened in terms of our finances, in terms of impact, in terms of influence, as it were. So for me, just being able to look at every area and being able to see that there's no area that is worse than it was before I got married. I think for me, having that well-rounded experience and thriving and looking forward to more seasons like that, 100%.
Maybe overcoming self, because I remember easily, by the way, a particular situation or a particular season where I always wanted my husband to apologize and apologize and apologize. And so when he eventually even said the sorry, it wasn't enough. It was like I wanted him to beg me and rub my back and do extra. I wanted him to know that I was angry and let him know that he pained me and give silent treatment a bit. I really want... And it was becoming a bit much. And the man would just say he's sorry, and if you want to not sleep, that's your business. I know how we women sometimes will be boiling, we won't sleep, meanwhile the man is snoring away. So it really used to choke me, pain me. And so I realized, and I spoke to him, and this was even years after, and he said something like, when you can't get over a situation for a long time, it's no longer about the situation or what the person did, but it's now about yourself. It's pride. You want to be gratified. You want to be satisfied. You want to be. You want it to be all about you, and that is in itself is a problem. That in itself is sinful. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have work to do here. So over the years, I've been able to get over myself for the most of it, and if not all of it, I hope, but at least for the most of it.
So my greatest area of growth in marriage has been communication style, and I think patience. So what that means for me is I like to speak my mind. And I like to speak my mind the way it is, with very little consideration to emotionalism and sentiments and all of that. But see, if you really want to stay married, get married and stay married and have an enjoyable marriage, there's certain things you just don't say. And if you ever say them to yourself in your mind. Or if you're going to say them outside, then you've got to say them at the right time, in the proper context. With due consideration to your partner's emotions. So for me, I think that's something I've learned by experience, not by revelation and wisdom, by experience. So yeah, the greatest growth area for me has been communication.
For me, my greatest expectation was to have a genuinely loving marriage. Like my husband would say, that is organic, that is not fake, that people wanted to emulate, that was for real, that people won't say, oh, because you are just one, or because you are just 2 years old now, you are still enjoying honeymoon phase. I really wanted something that would last genuinely. And I know so far that I have that gift of a good marriage. I can confidently talk about it because I'm genuinely happy being married.
So my greatest expectation for marriage was having a fulfilled marriage where I could have somebody who was my friend, aligned with our vision, corporate purpose, and working together. And to a large extent, that has been fulfilled. But I'm still looking forward to more of that on deeper levels, stronger levels, getting more done together and working together full time. Whoa, I think the greatest change that's happened between when we're a year old in marriage and 5 years is transitions. We've had some major transitions in our lives. So we've transited cross-country as an internationally, relocating. We're in London at the time, we're in Nigeria now. We've transited ministry-wise. We've transited geographically in different ways. But I think the biggest change has also been that we've shifted in our minds, as in like we've literally grown. We've had to grow in terms of responsibility, in terms of perspective, in terms of output, in terms of children. Yeah, so I think transition has been the biggest shift between then and now.
Greatest changes. I think I hinted already. Greatest changes would definitely be the transitions and having to move from being single to being married, and then moving immediately. I got married to another country, so pretty much no friends, pretty much no family close, not working, not having quote and unquote my own money. It was a lot. Different weather, different weather code. Yeah, that was a lot. Different church, different everything. And then transitioning just as I was settling there, coming back here, it was a lot. Starting again, then being pregnant. Just a lot of transitions, like I said, because as my husband is moving, I'm moving as well. So it's being tough. And then another tough transition was moving from having a baby, being a mom, back to work life. And we are still digging down out. Working mommy, working mommy, working mommy. I don't think that transition will end anytime too soon.
Wow, prayers answered. So many of them. We can't even begin to run through all of them. So we've been blessed with two amazing princes. We've been able to birth a thriving, progressive ministry where disciples have been raised and lives have been touched and transformed. We've been able to birth some book projects, birth events, total package, birth platforms, just different things. So prayers answered for us. A lot of them are hinged on the fruit of our ministry, the fruit of our lives, and the fact that there's so many people who didn't know us as individuals who now know us as a couple, and so many people who didn't know us when we were a year married who now follow us online and offline. So all of that, but also just being able to know that the people's lives being transformed because of what we represent and what we share and teach on different platforms. I think those are some of the biggest answers to our prayers.
Prayers answered. I think probably, well, that's ironic, but what came to mind was the things that I just probably even thought about, that I probably didn't intentionally pray about, but I guess God saw my heart and took it as a prayer. So the things that I just thought about, hoped for, things that I even felt I probably did not deserve, are things that have happened. So it's really fulfilling to see what you prayed for, just me and my husband living room, materializing into people, projects, disciples, buildings. It's really amazing.
Five years, greatest lesson is that the best is yet unfolding. As in, just like when you feel like, God, you've tried, God, Twali. well, so for me, really, it's just the fact that God keeps, if I can use the expression, outdoing himself. So outdoing himself as in, like, I've gotten so much more out of a wife than I put on my list, right? I've gotten so much more out of my life, my career, business, ministry, and all of this. So God keeps outdoing himself. And so the greatest lesson is that the best is always yet unfolding. And as long as you stay grounded in faith and your heart is planted in love, you're free of offense, you wish people well and all of that, you will see the marvelous, miraculous power of God and the bountiful blessings of God in untold measures.
And I think one of the greatest lessons, at least one of them, is that in marriage, you definitely get out of it what you put into it. It's like they say, garbage in and garbage out. So if you put your time into it, your love into it, your heart into it, your forgiveness into it, yes, you might not reap everything all at once at that same time, but over time you will definitely see the investment of everything you've put in, because you know God cannot be mocked. What you sow is what you're going to reap. And so I've seen that whatever I put into my marriage over time, sometimes immediately, sometimes over time, I've seen the result. And I've seen that once you and your husband or once you and your wife are on the same team and you realize that it's for us, it's not just you, it's not just me. If there's any enemy here, it's the devil, not you, not the argument you had with me yesterday, not the misunderstanding we had or the miscommunication. That's not the enemy. We deal with the issue and not with the person. And once we can do that, then we're good.
There has to be some sexual memories. So I'm not sure that I can share the details on the screen. Okay, now let me I know somebody is judging me right now. I'm just telling you the truth. Now, not necessarily just the sex itself, but things that happened before, during, and after all of that experience. Fantastic memories. Apart from that, let me see some other memories. I think every anniversary is memorable. Yes, having our children, I mean, those experiences were extremely memorable for me as well, because I was in the process. So seeing my wife change and her body, being able to accommodate that, and then her returning to a super fit, super trained figure and shape. I mean, like, she's literally wearing the same clothes she was wearing 5 years ago. So I gotta buy you something more than airtime. So those are some of my favorite memories, really.
Favorite memory I still think is my honeymoon. Although that honeymoon, it was like I wasn't there in the honeymoon. I was missing home. Oh, has this really happened? I'm far away, no MTN network to call home quickly. I'm alone with this man. I'm happy, I'm really happy, but I don't know how to express it. Am I lonely? Am I homesick? What's this feeling? I wasn't sure what was going on. But in retrospect, it was absolutely beautiful. And I think that's about my fondest, largest memory.
I am firmly convinced, thoroughly convinced, that marriage is God's plan. The marriage is a beautiful thing. The marriage is a blessing indeed, not just in words. So 5 years being married for 5 years, I feel so great about marriage. I'm so grateful to God, for the privilege of doing life with somebody who's thoroughly committed to you and totally grounded in the same values and the same faith as you. So I think marriage is a blessing. I think it's something that everybody who desires to get married should go for, as in, like, don't let what's happening in the world out there, the news, pop culture, and all the pressure dissuade you. I believe that God is able to set you in a brilliant one.
It's fantastic. It's brilliant. Like I mentioned earlier, someone you can always talk to, get counsel from, confide in, pray with. That support system, you don't always have all the answers. And even if the person too doesn't have the answer at that time, just that moral support, that emotional support, that spiritual support, that someone else is thinking about you, someone else cares about you, someone else is on your team. There's someone there. It's really encouraging. And not just anybody, someone who gets purpose, someone who gets values, someone who is passionate about you and wants you to become better. It's so amazing. Someone you can goof around with. I love it.
So how do I feel about my wife? 5 years married. I respect her so much more. I value her so much more. I'm like, wow, you're Wonder Woman, because I see all the things that she does, how she handles career, ministry, aspects of business and interaction in the financial space, our children, keeping the home together. So my respect level for her has gone like broken the scale. And then I've come to appreciate her person more, watching her grow and evolve and transform and blossom. So I really love her deeper, wider, higher, further, all the dimensions of love. So that's something. And then how do I feel about myself? I just feel like God is just getting started with us, and that we are like an onion bulb with different layers, and one layer is unfolding, another layer is unfolding, like rose petals and blooming. So I feel like I'm blossoming and blooming, thriving, expanding, multiplying. I feel great.
I think my husband is incredible. I say it all the time that my husband is not the man of my dreams. He's the man beyond my dreams. He keeps on keeping on. He keeps on outdoing himself. He's so mature, so wise, so confident, so supportive, so everything that a husband should be. So I'm really grateful for him. I'm happy about myself. I don't want to say proud of myself, but I feel I'm at the right place and I'm doing the right thing. I might not have become everything, but I'm definitely on the right path. And I'm grateful for who I'm becoming and the stuff I'm made of. And I'm happy for me.
So, babe, it's been 5 years, and I'm so honored to be your husband.
Same here. It's
You're honored to be my husband.
no honored to be your wife,
Yeah.
and it's really been fantastic. And like I said, please marry. It's sweet. It's nice.
Marry the right person.
Yes, and that's been another issue that we'll probably
Yeah, we'll discuss
talk
it
about
in
getting married
future
for the
episodes
wrong
and all.
reasons.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Yes, we'll talk about all of that in different episodes. So, thank you for being a part of our journey. We appreciate your love, prayers, support, your kindness in different ways. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for all your kind words, your prayers, your support, your friendship, your loyalty, and all of that stuff, man. So, we look forward to sharing more helpful content with you. Practical, insightful, what else? Enriching,
Beneficial.
romantic. Maybe not with you anyway. So if you know somebody who loves love
or someone who's in love
or praying to find love,
or praying that love finds them,
do send them this video right away and trust that they're going to find something in it based on what we've shared, very enriching and useful in their own relationship or marriage. Until the next episode, bye-bye.